Organ donor, yes or no? Everyone here who has a driver's license has been asked that question before. Personally, I believe everyone should answer yes to being an organ donor. So hopefully, by the end of this presentation, I will have convinced at least a few of you to saying yes to being an organ donor. First of all, I'm going to talk about how many lives are impacted by organ donation. Then I'm going to talk about the benefits for the recipient of an organ transplant. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about how a family of a donor is impacted. So first of all, how many people are impacted by organ donation? Well, according to the Donate Life website, approximately 115,000 Americans are awaiting an organ transplant. Of those 115,000, 21 people will die each day waiting for an organ that never came. By agreeing to be an organ donor, you have the potential to help save one of these lives. In fact, an organ donor can donate up to 8 organs. This means 8 lives can be saved from a single person. This brings me to my next point. How is somebody benefited from an organ transplant? Most people on a donation list suffer from some sort of chronic or life-threatening illness and aren't able to live a good quality of life. By receiving an organ transplant, their quality of life can be improved, and this will give them a second chance at life to live a good quality of life. Like, even though your life may have been cut short, they will live somewhat of a normal life. And this brings me to my So if all of this good can come from being an organ donor, why do people say no to it? Well, nobody really considers their own death, let alone dying through some sort of tragedy or horrible accident. But tragedies happen every day. So by saying yes to being an organ donor, even though something tragic may have happened, your organs will still be able to give somebody else a second chance at life. This is why I believe it's important that everybody says yes to being an organ donor. Lastly, being an organ donor can also give your family some sort of closure if something tragic does happen to you. Although we all hope nothing ever happens to us, we do know that accidents happen. By being an organ donor, you can ensure that your life wasn't taken entirely in vain. You can give somebody else a second chance at life, and that is truly selfless. So even though your life may cut short, there may be some good still to come from it.
We all got together, we got balloons, and we all came down.
The friends, family, even strangers come together to remember Sarah Root on the anniversary of her death. You just heard from a woman who received Sarah's kidney through an organ donation.
And tonight, a group released balloons tonight at 33rd and L, the site where Root was killed by a suspected drunk driver.
So as you just watched, you can tell that even though Sarah's life was tragically taken from her, some good still came from it. She was able to give this woman a second chance at life by donating her kidneys. Now, although Sarah will never be able to come back, it will hopefully give her family a bit of closure knowing that her last act on this earth was a selfless one. This is why I believe that everyone should be an organ donor. So hopefully, by discussing today how lives are impacted through organ donation, how people benefit from receiving a transplant, and the impact on families of donors, that I have convinced at least a few of you to mark yes to being an organ donor.